Alright guys, welcome back. Right now, first project once we moved in is fixing this trailer up a little bit. I think I'm going to sell it to just kind of be able to start some new trailers, kind of a new design that I want to work on. But there's some things that I need to fix on this before I sell it. We're going to be stripping off all of the Raptor liner I put on it, and I'll show you why in a minute. And then we'll be coating the whole thing in aluminum sheets, aluminum sheet metal, and putting some new aluminum trim on all of the edges and corners. Gonna make it look really good. Hopefully we'll be getting some colored aluminum for it. I'm also gonna take it off of the trailer, put it on the jacks over here, and be working on it there. It'll just make it a little easier to get in all the nooks and crannies. So let me show you why I'm doing this. So unfortunately, as the wood that I have underneath this Raptor liner, as it expanded and contracted with different humidity, I got these cracks all down it. This got a lot of heat on it, which made it, I would imagine, expand and contract as the temperature changed. So like, for example, this chip here came from a crack. There's little tiny cracks right along there. It's not the end of the world, but I would definitely need to be putting silicone like I did up here on all of the cracks. And I just don't want to have to deal with that, especially if I'm going to be selling it to someone. I'm going to want to make sure it looks good, it works good, and then hopefully I know I've learned my lesson, and on future projects I can take care of it right from the start. But anyway, we're going to get to working on this over the next couple days, so just enjoy the video. At this part of the project, I had to remove everything from the trailer. I took off the awning, the roof rack, the solar shower, the solar panels, all the doors and vents. Just really had to get it down to the bare bones here. Prepped the camper now to get ready to strip everything off before putting on the new aluminum. I'm still looking for the new aluminum, haven't found exactly what I'm looking for yet, but I'm still hunting. In the meantime, I'm going to start stripping off all this Raptor liner to try and get it all prepped and ready for the aluminum. I'm still not sure the best method of doing this. I'm going to start with a heat gun and just a scraper for paint. I've tried it a little bit. Worked really good to get the gunk off from the glue and silicone. So I'm going to start with that, try it. I might change it up and start sanding. We'll see how it goes. This is a little bit cheaper because I don't have to buy sandpaper, but if it doesn't work very well, then I'll switch to sandpaper tomorrow. This process ended up taking me a lot longer than expected. I basically spent an entire day cleaning the Raptor liner from the camper, including scraping it off and sanding. it took quite a while. The best way to take it off was with the heat gun and the paint scraper, and I just had to go little by little. And then once the bulk of it was off, I was able to sand down and remove all of the excess Raptor liner and also the primer that was left on there. Since I was repriming, I wanted to get everything down to wood. Finally got all of the old Raptor liner off of it, sanded it all down nice and smooth. As you can see, I put a primer coat on it, some kills too to get rid of any mildew, mold that might pop up. I've resurfaced the bottom with some black Raptor liner, and now it's time to put on the aluminum sheeting. So we're going to be working on that now. So what we're going to be doing is putting aluminum on the camper. How I'm going to do this, I'm going to be using some silicone just around the edges, just to kind of seal out some water. The rest of it will all be floated. That just means it's not going to be necessarily attached to the walls. There's not going to be any screws in it. It's just going to have that bead of silicone right around the outside. That is because with the heat, you get the aluminum expanding and contracting, and you don't want it to cause a bunch of ripples in it. So this is supposed to help that, just let it float. What's holding it on is going to be the door, the vent, and trim that I put all around the outside. So that trim is really going to be what seals it in. I'll use butyl tape to seal it up real good, lots of silicone, and it should look pretty dang good, I think. So yeah, I've primed up the entire camper now. It's all ready to get aluminum. The inside was primed and repainted with a better paint than we put on before. I also painted the back galley. This was just like exposed plywood before, and it was fine, but this looks a lot nicer. I'm gonna put some little mats that normally you would put in your toolbox. I'll put those up here, just kind of protect it a little bit when we put all of our containers in there. So we're gonna start with the aluminum tonight. I don't have much time, so I'm going to start with the top, and we'll be back in the next couple days to finish up the rest of it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm going to start with the front. The front is going to be diamond plated aluminum, black. Everything else is going to be, it's called charcoal. That's the color that I'm going to be putting on everything else. So I'm going to start with the front here. I want to just get this piece done, and then I'll come back and do everything else. I am using these blades for my jigsaw to cut through the aluminum. It's a Diablo bimetal jigsaw blade, and it is made for thin metal between 1/64 inches and 3/64 inches. So this is working great on the aluminum. I really want to use the router, but as of right now, the pieces are too big to use the router on. So I'm going to rough cut a little bit big with these, and then I'll go through later with the router and clean it up. Okay, well, got the skin on this side. I'm gonna let the silicone dry before I take my supports off, like the ratchet strap, Got a clamp over here. Probably should have a lot more clamps on there. Might throw some on before I leave tonight. I cut out my hole for my little light over here. I threw this up after I put some silicone on. I put the skin on the top as well. I cut out the hole there for the vent. I'm using a router to do that. I will put in the description below an Amazon link for the router bit that I'm using. It's a flush trim bit. I believe I have a 3/8 inch bit and it's a 1/2 inch deep. I'm gonna wait until the silicone dries. Probably tomorrow I'll come back and cut that out. What I still need to do is finish up this side, cut off my angle here. This side, I need to decide whether I'm gonna use the painted aluminum or the black diamond plating. I'm leaning towards diamond plating, but I'm gonna ask a couple friends and see what they think. I need to put this side on as well, cut it all out, and then the back and the door. Probably what I'll do is I'll put the plywood, I'll put the aluminum up here, get it all glued in, then I'll cut as precise as I can right around the edge with my router. Then once all that stuff's on, then I'll go through and put all my trim on. I've been working with recpro.com to get all my trim. They've shipped me the wrong thing multiple times now. They keep shipping me more stuff and they're not charging me for it, which is great, but it keeps pushing my timeline back and back and back. I've been kind of waiting to do this until I get those pieces, and I just don't have enough trim because they keep on sending me the wrong quantity. But they had what I needed. It was affordable. So if you guys know of somewhere else that does that, I think Frank with Vintage Technologies, he I think has some as well. And I've been working with him on my doors. He's been great. I highly suggest getting doors from Frank. Once that trim gets in here, it should be here, in 3 or 4 days. Then I can quickly put up all my trim, get it all cleaned up, attach my door with the hurricane hinge here, put my doors on the sides, wire up everything, and then it's just kind of cleaning things up and making sure they're ready to roll and get down the road. I might make a couple of adjustments to my trailer as well. I don't love this, the edge on it. I think I'm just going to take it off. My neighbor here he's a welder, so I might have him make a couple little supports so it still is strong. Right now it's a little overkill and I don't need all this. It just ends up getting in the way. To point out what kind of blade I was using to cut the metal trim. It's a Diablo blade for laminates and aluminum for non-ferrous steel. It is linked down in the description. You can find all the blades and other materials that I used down in that description, and hopefully it can help you find exactly what you're looking for. The aluminum trim is held on by sheet metal screws and also silicone and butyl tape. After the project was done, all of the screws get covered up with an insert that goes into the trim, so you can't see any of the screws. If you've made it this far into our video, thanks so much for watching. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing to our channel. It helps us continue to grow and make more of these videos. If you have any feedback about how I built this or how I skinned it with the aluminum, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback, and I will respond. I had a great time resurfacing the trailer. I think it turned out really good. I'm excited to take it on some more adventures. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next adventure.